You said the image is important, and I would argue too the reaction is probably equally as important. So,
Yeah.
throughout all these scandals, how did the NFL react?
Well, listen, I leave it to them. They feel like they've acted appropriately. Every time that they've discussed these type of things in the public, they will go and pinpoint that they've gave a record fine to the Washington Commanders for what happened on what allegedly had happened in that workplace. And then with Deshaun Watson, he received an 11-game suspension, which was up from the 6 that was initially sent down. And so they felt like they have acted in a good manner, and not a good manner, but in a manner that would say, hey, listen, we went overboard with some of these penalties, and because the crimes fit that, or the alleged crimes fit that, and they feel like they got to get better. But it's not so much what the reaction of the league was, right? It's not so much that, Brittany. It's also how they're being perceived. I asked Roger Goodell to his face about it, and I didn't see any type of remorse. I didn't see a human being that is remorseful for the way that his league may be perceived amongst women. What I heard was stats. What I heard was just nothing. I saw a statue, right? And you're not looking for that when it comes to talking about these serious issues. You're looking for some human emotion. You're looking for something that says, hey, listen, if the league did lose women in 2022 based off of what happened off the field, we got to do better. We apologize. You're looking for that human emotion because you're touching people. The NFL consumers, the fans, they're not just people that go and pay the NFL money. They're not just people that go and watch the games on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays. These are human beings, and you want to see some human emotion from the number one league in American NFL, and you're just not seeing that across the board when it comes down to females, at least from where I sit.
Why was Roger Goodell stuck for an answer there?
I don't know. I don't know if he wasn't prepared for it, or again, you let him tell it or let the league tell it. They feel like their viewership amongst women is strong, and obviously they want to see growth there, but they feel like they are at a good place. It's flat. But I disagree. You don't see growth, right? When you're talking about the NFL, you want to see growth because you demand that, because they charge you premium product as an advertiser. So you don't want to see any type of flat when it comes to an important demographic in women. Listen, it's women who go to the stores. Me and you, Brittany, were just talking about this very thing. It's women who shop. It's women who have control of say in the household. At least, you let advertising executives, marketing executives, this was what they think. And so you do not want to alienate a powerful demographic like that, because it is this demographic that goes and they spend money. And again, when you're doing business with the NFL and you're putting the NFL's logo on their product, or their logo on your product, you want to make sure that it's in a positive image. You don't want any negativity around it, because if it does, that can turn off a consumer a possible sale for somebody walking down the aisle. And so it's important to keep the image up. And again, they got to do a better job with that.
Do any other major sports leagues have this type of image problem?
They may, and yeah, they do. All of them have some image problems. I mean, maybe some of them are not bigger than the other, and that's fine. I mean, nothing is ever going to be perfect because we're in this type of society, right? Their leagues are always going to be magnified because of the place that they hold in our society. People care and they love sports. But the NFL, again, when you're the number one sport, you're much more scrutinized. The headlines do trigger, and people pay attention because this is football. This is what we love. This is America. And so when that goes hand in hand with the society, because you are a major part of society. And so, again, they have a responsibility, and their responsibility, it has to be improved when it comes down to not only female issues, but issues involving, diversity and Black coaches. We obviously know that's still a lawsuit that's out there. So, they got a lot of things to fix. And listen, we would be very wrong to not mention and say, send prayers to Damar Hamlin. I mean, that's an issue we saw right on the field, and a safety issue. So 2023, they have a lot of answers. They have a lot to look in the mirror, and they have a lot to fix. But listen, I don't think at all that just because they have all these issues, and again, they need to fix them, that people are going to alienate the sport so fast, right? It's one of those things where you're going to see it over time. And again, over the last 8 years, what we've seen is that at least amongst female viewerships, not to lose, topic of discussion, but female viewership, it hasn't grown the way that the NFL probably would anticipate.
Yeah, they have had a slow 8-year decline, and you're saying they have a
Yeah.
lot to fix. So how do they fix it?
Well, again, by going back and showing people that you're serious, and maybe that starts with personal conduct. Maybe you go and strengthen that rule. The last time that they tinkered with that rule was it came in 2014 when they had problems, inmate problems when it came down to women and the violence that was happening off the field around players and women. And so maybe they strengthen that. Maybe they go back and look at some extra rules or some extra things to put in place so that these things won't happen. I mean, listen, they can't control, nobody can control anything, when it comes down to human beings, because you're going to have situations where things just get out of control. But they just have to make sure that if, something happens, right, and allegations and, the law investigations, if they prove something, that the penalties have to be harsh. If that means throwing owners out of the league, you got to do it. The NBA's done it. You got to do it. Okay. Knock it off with all of the politics you got to go through. Get whatever owner out of the league if it's a bad owner and he's not doing right by society, right? And if it's a player, get him out of the league. It's those type of harsh penalties that you have to have so that you can send a message. And it's not going to be, something that happens overnight. There's a lot of collective bargaining and a lot of things that has to be negotiated. But I don't think even the Players Association would argue or disagree with the fact that when it comes down to violating women, and when it comes down to violating anybody or discrimination, that the penalty should be harsher. And so I think that's the one of the things that they should do, go back to the table and maybe strengthen that penalty and then see what happens after that. And if that continues, if the behavior continues, then do it again. But then also show more human compassion, and that has to come from the top, the commissioner. Okay. You need to show people that you care. And by doing that, they have to see it and they have to hear it and they have to feel it. On a media call, discussing Damar Hamlin, what I heard and felt? I heard and felt Troy Vincent on that call. That man was crying. We didn't see his face, but you heard, you felt it, and you acknowledged that that's what you want to see from the NFL, even though it's a sport, even though that, they're the number one sport in the league, make billions of dollars, and they will continue to do so. It does not mean that they can forget to be human beings at the end of the day, because that's who the game is controlled by. That's who the game is viewed by, watched by, consumed by. So you have to remember to be a human being. And sometimes I look at the NFL, I don't see that. I just see a machine. I see a corporate logo, and I see people who just don't really care about other people, although that they say that they do.